everybody, my name's Allison and this is Crash Course U.S. History. Just wanted to wish you Americans congratulations on the freedom of all people. So how did this freedom happen? Well, this was done with the 13th Amendment. This basically said that slavery was not allowed and they were free, which is cool because what?
Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction.
Thanks. Anyway, so the slaves were now free and the North won and all that jazz. Now they had to clean up the mess. This would be known as the Reconstruction. Here's the deal. This was supposed to be something that would change the South and make it so that the African Americans could have a smooth transition into the new South. And this wasn't happening at the beginning. The Southern governments looked a lot like the post-war governments, but the former slaves were being given education thanks to the Freedmen's Bureau, who would also be dividing up confiscated lands to former slaves. Which is a good thing because the African Americans felt like this is what would make them truly free.
Maybe we should have more of a party because this new America is great.
Yeah, because they weren't actually given land in the end, so yeah, it was great.
Yeah! Wait, what?
Well, Andrew Johnson was president at the time, and he was not about the whole equality, equal rights for all thing. So he gave back the land to the owners.
What happened to Lincoln?
I don't know how to say this, but he was assassinated. That's how Johnson became El Presidente.
What?
Well, not everyone liked Lincoln, even though he was...
No, what does El Presidente mean?
President. Seriously? Come on. Anyway, since they didn't have lands, the African Americans would participate in sharecropping with plantation owners. The owners were given land, tools, and a home where they would grow, and then the owner would get some of the crop. This wasn't slavery, but it wasn't far from what they had in the South before. So the Republicans started to take over the Reconstruction. They wanted equal rights for all, including citizenship. So they made a civil rights law giving citizenship to all of the former slaves. But it was vetoed by Johnson, so the Republicans were like, yeah, no. They overrided it with the majority of both houses, leading to the 14th Amendment.
Now we can have a party like with the whole balloon confetti and party. Yeah, equality.
No, sorry. It's just that not everyone was okay with this. Southerners in the South made black codes, which were legal codes that basically made it so that the African Americans were treated just as before. This was exemplary of the stubbornness that the South exhibited when it came to giving the former slaves rights. This starts radical Reconstruction. So, the South would be divided up into military districts, and they would be forced to change their government to benefit African Americans. Oh, and they would have to ratify the 14th Amendment in order to join the Union. Progress. It can only go up from here. So after Grant was elected, the Republicans were looking at voters, voting rights, and the elections differently. This was what led the Republicans to ratify the 15th Amendment. This would give African American men the right to vote.
Is this going to end bad too? Let me guess. It ends like, oh, it actually didn't work and they didn't get the right to vote. But this is just like how history works. Everyone is sad all the time, and I mean all the time.
So, you're right. I can't sugarcoat this. Sorry. Anyway, they were allowed to vote, but the white Southerners did everything they could so that the African Americans weren't allowed to. The Civil Rights Act of 1875 tried to stop this and add equality to all aspects of their lives, but no matter what, the South still scrutinized them. Can I get back to this, please? Anyway, the Southerners were starting to become upset due to the fact that African Americans were now holding office. Northerners who wanted to get rich, called carpetbaggers, were coming to the South, and the Southerners, called scalawags, were starting to become Republican Party supporters. The new changes made the South start to turn to violence. A main source of this was the Ku Klux Klan, or the KKK. They were a terrorist group which killed African Americans and Republicans. They hoped to scare them out of voting. The South wanted their old South back, and when the economy started to slink, they were starting on a path to getting it back. America went through another small depression where Republicans started to feel that they could no longer help the African Americans since it was so expensive.
This is a major upset. I might just cry.
Well, then you might want to close your ears for the rest of this.
I think I'm ready.
Okay. So when Rutherford B. Hayes won the election of 1776, there was like, yay, another Republican, but there was also like, no, when he did not do what they wanted in 1877. So anyway, Hayes basically promised that he would stop control over the South and then he would give control to the Democrats of the South. This meant that all troops would leave and all control from Republicans would be erased. This was called the Compromise of 1877.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
Oh, and you know how I was all like, progress, it can only go up from here? Well, I was wrong. So basically this compromise was on the tombstone of Reconstruction.
What? No, you can't do this. This is just awful.
This was not my fault, okay? Just stop. I have to say the Reconstruction definitely added to the democratic form of government, but let's face it, it wasn't successful. The Reconstruction added to progress. There wasn't enough established so that their future wouldn't be dependent on others. The government failed to clearly draw a line for the South and to truly enforce the laws. There was too much leeway for the South to turn around and the laws to only benefit whites. In the end, the goal wasn't actually accomplished. This would add to civil rights problems in the future and would be a part of the problem that needed to be fixed in the 1960s.
That was really just deep. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's all the time we have for today, folks. And remember, whoa, America!
I'm ready whenever you are.
I'm ready. Okay, you ready, Alice?
Yeah.
Ah!